The movie begins with Jessica, who anxiously waits for her husband, John, to return from work, her eyes filled with tears revealing the weight of a disturbing truth she carries inside. When John asks what is wrong, Jessica confesses that she knows about his affair with one of his students, a young woman named Vivienne. Although John tries to explain himself, Jessica refuses to listen. However, because of her love for their daughter, Anna, and the home they have built together, she decides not to pursue a divorce. In an attempt to save their marriage, Jessica sets 3 conditions. John must completely cut ties with Vivienne, they must not tell Anna the truth, and they must take a family vacation to reconnect. John agrees without hesitation, knowing divorce is not an option. The family plans a trip to Bayou, where they will stay in a large, isolated house. The property, which is up for sale, was assigned to Jessica's agency to manage, and the owners allowed them to stay there temporarily while she prepares it for the market. Although Jessica had mentioned for months that she wanted to stay there, John barely remembered. Upon arrival, Anna lets her beloved cat, Toby, roam freely around the house, while the tension between Jessica and John remains evident. She, clearly irritated, keeps bringing up his infidelity as a painful reminder. Later, she asks him to buy wine and veal chops for dinner, despite knowing he cannot stand them, seemingly as a subtle act of revenge. John takes Anna to the supermarket, where the strange behavior of the store owner immediately catches his attention. There, Anna meets a teenage boy named Isaac who appears friendly, compliments her, and eventually invites her out for ice cream. During the shopping, John decides to avoid buying veal chops, and when he pays, he notices a disturbing message printed on the receipt: "The devil is watching you." The message unsettles him deeply, and he decides not to return to that store. Back at the house, they find Jessica trying to force open a locked door with a screwdriver. Since they do not have the key and it does not appear on the house plans, her curiosity about what lies inside grows stronger. Jessica questions John about the veal chops and he lies, saying they were sold out. At that exact moment, the doorbell rings and Isaac appears, inviting them to dinner. He reveals that he will be cooking veal chops, since they have plenty at his store, which irritates Jessica even more. Still, she accepts the invitation, sparking another argument between the couple. During the fight, John admits that he feels better with Vivienne than with Jessica, which makes her break down in tears. Eventually, he offers a sincere apology, while Anna, who overhears everything, becomes overwhelmed and suddenly suffers a nosebleed. Jessica decides to cancel the dinner because of Anna's condition, but she does not have Isaac's number to inform him. As they discuss what to do, Isaac and his grandfather, the store owner, arrive unexpectedly with the food, claiming their oven broke. Reluctantly, the family invites them in to eat. During dinner, John confronts the grandfather about the message on the receipt, and the old man calmly explains that the devil is always watching, and that some people invite him in, adding that he felt John needed to hear those words. Meanwhile, Isaac reveals that his parents died years ago from bone cancer, and since then, his grandfather has raised him as his own son. When Jessica asks about the true owner of the house they are staying in, Isaac responds that they do not spend much time there, so he does not know many details. Jessica finds this strange, since Isaac is the closest neighbor and yet knows nothing about the owner. As they sit together, Jessica continues to feel an unsettling presence coming from Isaac and his grandfather, and the atmosphere grows even more disturbing when Isaac asks her to light a candle, knowing exactly where everything is. She hands him a box of matches, and shortly after, she and John share a serious conversation about asking their guests to leave. However, when they return to the table, Anna excitedly tells them that Isaac lit the candle with his finger, something that seems like an impressive trick. Jessica then tells Isaac that he and his grandfather must leave after dinner, but her request does not receive the reaction she expected. Isaac becomes offended by the way they are treating him and points out the many empty rooms in the house, suggesting they could stay the night. Among them, he mentions the locked room Jessica had tried to open earlier, and before John can ask how he knows about it, Anna begins bleeding from her nose once again. Worried for their daughter's health, the couple firmly orders Isaac to leave the house, but his behavior begins to reveal a far more disturbing nature. The tension escalates when they discover that Anna's cat has been locked inside the mysterious room, and Isaac is the only one who has the key. John tries to take the key from Isaac, but fails, and strange noises begin to come from inside the room, suggesting that Toby is being attacked by something unseen. Faced with the terrifying situation, John orders the grandfather to leave with Isaac, but the old man responds cryptically, explaining that Isaac is not his biological grandson, but an orphan who appeared one summer, walking out of the bayou and ending up under his care. According to him, Isaac carries a virtuous Christian spirit, and despite living with him for decades, he does not seem to age, something John cannot comprehend. The grandfather then stands up to play some music so Isaac will not hear their conversation, but instead, a recording begins to play, the last conversation between John and Vivienne. In it, John speaks with cold disdain and promises to divorce Jessica after the vacation, planning to start a new life with Vivienne. Frustrated, John accuses the grandfather of intentionally exposing him in front of his daughter, but the old man insists it must be one of Isaac's tricks. Upon discovering the depth of her husband's deception, Jessica decides to move forward with a divorce. Just as she prepares to leave with Anna, Isaac emerges from the bathroom, shockingly holding Toby in his arms. Trying to make sense of everything, John suddenly accuses Jessica of orchestrating a malicious plan involving Isaac and the grandfather as part of a setup, but Jessica denies knowing them and insists she has never seen them before in her life. At that moment, the family's attention is drawn to a coyote outside the window, giving Isaac the opportunity to pull out a gun hidden beneath the table. With their lives at risk, the family is forced to follow Isaac's orders, though they must first endure his erratic behavior, as he begins recording himself with Jessica's camera for no apparent reason. He hands the gun to his grandfather and takes John outside for a private conversation. They walk into the yard where something unexpected is revealed. John had hired Isaac to kill Jessica. From the beginning, he had carefully planned everything, knowing Jessica wanted to stay at the house. He hired Isaac, a 21-year-old soldier, to stage a robbery so Jessica's death would appear accidental. However, Isaac and his grandfather begin to go beyond what John had paid for, and now John demands that Isaac finish the job quickly. Isaac advises him to reconsider his choices, but John stands firm, ordering him to shoot Jessica in the head so he can start a new life with Vivienne, while Isaac would receive $100,000. Meanwhile, inside the house, Jessica offers the grandfather a deal. If he lets her and her daughter escape, she will give him everything she has. Anna insists they cannot leave her father behind to die, but the old man replies that he cannot betray Isaac. Before Jessica can convince him, Isaac returns from the yard and finally reveals his plan to her. After locking the family inside the secret room, he intends to steal the money and the SUV. Before leaving, he will contact the authorities, pretending to be an informant reporting the supposed robbery. With Grandpappy holding the gun, Jessica is forced to obey every command. The two men escort the family to the locked room and direct John to enter first. His hesitation disrupts the plan slightly, but with no real choice, he complies. As soon as he steps inside, Isaac shuts the door behind him. Isaac then reveals a shocking truth about John's repeated infidelity with multiple women and advises Jessica not to forgive her husband's actions. As John desperately begs Anna to ignore Isaac's words, the doorbell suddenly rings. Jessica opens the door and finds Vivienne standing there, having arrived after receiving a disturbing message from John. Despite everything between them, Jessica quickly explains the situation, describing the supposed robbery, and asks Vivienne to go to the police station for help, keeping a can of pepper spray for herself. Jessica's delay raises suspicion, and Isaac orders Grandpappy to take Anna to get gasoline. John, furious, threatens Isaac with severe consequences for betraying him, but Isaac simply tells him to search the closet for an escape route. Meanwhile, as Vivienne struggles to start her car, she realizes the door is stuck, trapping her inside. At that moment, Grandpappy arrives with the gasoline and instructs Anna to soak Vivienne's car with it. Jessica begs the old man to let her go, but under the threat of the gun, she has no choice but to comply. Ignoring Vivienne's desperate screams, Grandpappy sets the car on fire. In a moment of desperation, Jessica grabs a hammer and strikes Grandpappy in the head, killing him. She rushes to save Vivienne, but the flames have already consumed the car completely, leaving no chance of survival. Without access to the house keys, they cannot use Vivienne's vehicle to escape. Jessica leaves Anna with the gun and the pepper spray and heads back into the house to rescue her husband, unaware of what she is about to find. Inside, she discovers John lying on the floor, a coyote beside him, his intestines torn out and spilling onto the ground. With his final strength, John tells her that Isaac said Vivienne was there, and Jessica coldly replies that Vivienne is still alive just long enough to see his reaction. With bitter indifference, John asks her to tell Vivienne that he loves her. As Jessica closes the door, she hears the fatal sounds of the coyote finishing him off. When she returns outside, she faces another nightmare. Isaac has taken Anna and declares that he wants her to become his wife. He then reveals to Jessica that John was the one who hired them to kill her, though she still struggles to believe it. According to Isaac, John deserved to die, not her. Seizing the moment, Anna sprays Isaac with the pepper spray, while Jessica quickly grabs the gun from him and without hesitation shoots him. As he falls, Jessica realizes that Isaac's claims about wanting to marry Anna were nothing more than a twisted joke. With his strength fading, Isaac confesses that he sees himself as a kind of moral compass, guiding lost people, and reveals that he and Grandpappy built the house to lure individuals like John, liars, and sinners, who are strangely drawn to it. Isaac also admits that he has existed for centuries, without knowing whether he is a demon, an angel, or simply a confused boy. With his final breath, he hands Jessica the keys to his car, giving her one last chance to escape. After fleeing that living nightmare, Jessica rushes to the nearest police station, desperate for help to find her husband. However, the officer dismisses her story as confusion, explaining that there are no records of any house matching her description. Jessica provides the address anyway and insists on being taken there, leaving Anna behind at the station. When Jessica and the officer arrive at the location, there is no house, only an empty piece of land. Still, Jessica finds her wedding ring lying on the ground, the same one she had thrown at John that night. With no evidence to support her story, she has no choice but to return. On the way back, the officer tells her she is not the first person to come in with a strange story about a house. Then she asks Jessica to open the glove compartment, where she finds the same camera from the house. As she plays the recording, she hears Isaac's voice, confirming that they are still alive and that he is right behind her. The officer calmly explains that Isaac and Grandpappy exist beyond human understanding and help the authorities maintain order. In fact, officers protect Isaac while he deals with those who commit evil. Jessica considers telling her story to the world, but she knows no one would believe her. The officer advises her to stay calm and make the most of the second chance Isaac has given her, emphasizing the importance of choosing goodness in this new life. The film ends with Jessica and Anna embracing each other tightly, finding comfort at last, while somewhere else, Isaac and Grandpappy begin another journey, preparing to lure yet another wrongdoer toward their final destination, hell. And with this, the movie ends. Don't forget to check out my channel, subscribe, and catch all the latest videos.